Good morning. How much should you pay your officers of your S Corp? Well, if you have L.L.C. and N.L.C. that is taxed as an S Corp, or you have S Corporation and S Corporation, and you have officers that are shareholders and employees of your S Corp, then they need to collect wages. So how much should you pay them? You just need to know that you have to evaluate the service they are performing and pay them wages, because those wages are subject to employment taxes. So they cannot collect distributions, dividends, if they are not collecting wages and they are working in the business. So your officers, they are called officers because they are managing the business, they are working, they are providing some services. So you have to pay them wages first to the extent of the service they perform. So the wages they are collecting has to be reasonable. When you evaluate the duty performed, the time spent on a business, you determine how much to pay them salary wise. So they have to collect wages to the extent of the service they perform before they collect any non-wage distribution. So the wage, like I said before, their wages will be subject to employment taxes and employment and unemployment taxes, and the non-wage distributions will not be subject to employment or unemployment taxes. So they cannot collect those non-wage distributions if they are not collecting wages. If they are officers, they need to get paid for their services before they get paid distributions from the S Corp net income. And so what should we talk about next? So what is a reasonable compensation to pay them? So well, we might go in detail in another video, but you just have to evaluate the service they perform, because sometimes you might pay them, or some business might just pay a small amount of wages to the officers because they are shareholder, and employees. So they might collect a little wages, a little wage or salary, and then they will collect a large portion of the S Corp net income as distribution or dividend, because those will be taxed differently compared to the salary. But by doing that, you might raise a red flag, and then IRS will try to see if the officer, or the wages the officers were paid, were reasonable to start with, depend of their experience, the service they perform, and the time they spend on the business. So they need to collect great salaries to start with, and the salary should be, what you are going to consider reasonable is the salary should be higher than any non-wage distribution that they collect. That's how reasonable you can get. The salary you pay your officers should be higher than the non-wage distributions that they collect. And if they are not collecting any wages, they shouldn't be collecting any other distributions from the S Corp. If the S Corp is not doing great financially wise for distributions to be paid or salaries to be paid, they shouldn't be collecting any sort of non-wage distribution from the S Corp. Anything they should collect first should be their wages, including yourself. If you are a shareholder of the business, you should not be collecting anything other than the wage, because you are putting your time into it. Wages, the salary is the first thing you should collect from the business, and past that you can collect other non-wage distribution if you are more than one shareholder, but you are the main owner, the president of the S Corp. So just keep that in mind, because sometimes we get carried away and we might try to pay a little salary to ourselves on our salary or anything we collect. We might try to consider that as a distribution coming from the net income. But well, it should be considered a salary, anything you take out of your S Corp as payment. And once you are well paid for your position in the business, then any extra can be considered dividend or distribution that is not subject to employment tax. I have one of my daughters, my husband and children, we are all shareholders of our S Corp, and at different proportions. So, but one of my daughters like to make design for our custom design apparels, and she makes some very beautiful designs, and I start to put some of them on our products. So I told her that she needs to track her time that she's putting into making those designs. That way I can record her hours. And she's a shareholder, but she's not an employee of the business, but she start making those designs that we are incorporating in our design and our product design. So if those products start to sell, I will, depending on the time she's spending, she will be collecting payment for her work, because her work start to generate revenue for the business. She will collect payment. So at that point, I will add her to the business as employee, and she will collect wages, because she cannot collect distributions from the business while her work is generating revenue for the business and she's not getting paid salary for it. So when I put her design on our product, in the description I'll put the name of the person that made that design. So she's not the only one. The other two siblings, they made designs as well. They are kind of new into it, but they are, they do that. So when I use their design, I like to add a little note in the description of their name and age. That's a record for us to look back and see how early they start participating in the business as well. But once their products those products start to sell, that has their design on it, I would like to pay them salary. So when the business has profit, before they get any sort of distribution, I had to make sure that they get paid for those services that they provide that generated revenue for the S Corp. Thank you for watching. I'm Afiavi Ojune Liberman, creators of Liberman Consulting L.L.C YouTube channel and owners of Nina's Soap the blog and Nina's Soap, our natural products, where we sell handmade soap, we sell napkin, 100% cotton, and bamboo napkin, bamboo towel, 100% bamboo, and a blend of bamboo and cotton. So you can use those napkins to eat at your desk while you are working without making a mess on your table. And you can use those individual towels in the bathroom to reduce germs as well. We have our custom apparel and stationeries as well at label.com. And if you have any questions, please, you can email us at care@ninasoap.com. I'll have all those descriptions in all those information in our description. Thank you for watching our videos. Thank you for you all that subscribe, and thank you for you all that comment and commented on our videos. And if you like our videos, we invite you to hit the like button and to subscribe as well. Thank you.